Hey gang, today we're going to be talking about weightless stick bait fishing and how to use it in a slow, natural movement, mimicking bait fish to really get those bass fired up and cause them to strike. Hey, but before we get started, I need you to go down and hit that subscribe button. I literally upload videos every week on fishing tips and techniques to help you improve your bass fishing. And if you're as serious about bass fishing as I am, then I know you're always looking for ways to improve too. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's improve our bass fishing game together. So, what is a stick bait? Well, just as the name suggests, it looks like a stick. It's just a straight piece of plastic, and when you fish it weightless, all you need is your stick bait, your line, and a hook. And you're going to Texas rig it just like you would a Texas rig worm. Now, how do you rig a weightless stick bait? To rig a weightless stick bait, you'll need a wide gap hook, of course, your line, like I said before, and the bait. Start by threading the hook through the nose of the bait and then back out again. Then slide the bait up the hook until the hook is buried in the body of the bait. And then finally pull the hook back out until the point's exposed. Now, it's really critical to get that bait as straight as you can, right? So you want to make sure that your bait is not doing that helicopter spin underneath the water. So make sure you take your time and get the bait as straight as possible. So now that you've got your bait rigged up, it's time to cast it out there. Now I like to throw my weightless stick baits on a spinning reel. You can throw them on a bait caster, but you've really got to take your time and set it up correctly to keep yourself from getting a mess and a big backlash. So for that reason, I like to stay with a spinning rod, about a 7 foot 3 medium heavy action rod. Usually a fish about 10 to 12 pound test. If I'm in really thick cover, I'll go up to 16, 17 pound. I always use fluorocarbon, or on a spinning reel, I like to use braid to a fluorocarbon leader. Now, where you want to target is you want to look for areas like grass beds, rocks, underneath tree limbs, docks. This bait is really good for skipping up underneath those docks. And this bait's really effective in the post spawn because those bass, those buck bass, will still stick around guarding those fry. And those females, those big females, will move off the bed, but they'll go to the nearest piece of cover, and that's where they always go when they come off the nest, off the bed, is they'll go straight to that cover. Now listen, once you've got your bait in the water, you want to slow down. Take your time, let that bait work its way down and sink to the bottom. And when you're retrieving it, you want to kind of use a twitch pause, or you can just slowly raise your rod tip and make that bait rise up in the water column and then let it kind of float back down. Now, when it floats back down and lands on the bottom, I like to let it set there for a few seconds just to see if those really finicky fish will key in on that bait. And normally, about the time that you pick it up again, you'll feel that slight tick in your line. And that's when you know you've got one on. And when you feel that fish bite, it's really important to stay calm. Your first reaction is going to be to set that hook. But remember, this bait is weightless, and you've got to give the fish time to get that bait down in their mouth. And it can be difficult to detect bites sometimes. So it's really important to stay alert and pay close attention to your line. You've really got to slow down, be methodical, and pick your cover and structure apart. Now, listen, when you catch one bass, you can rest assured there's probably others in the area. So I like to use a fan cast technique and just start at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and I'll pick the cover apart and fish around the cover or structure. And then if you have to reposition, just reposition slightly and start your fan cast over again. Don't give up on that spot because those bass might be a little bit finicky, but when you get that school to start firing up, you can really be an exciting time on the water fishing that weightless stick bait. Now, listen, weightless stick bait fishing is a great way for beginners to get into the sport of bass fishing with artificial baits. You just have to slow down, and you really can't fish this bait a wrong way. But it's not only for the beginners, the pros really use this bait as well, and you will see a lot of tournaments won on stick bait fishing. If you're new to bass fishing, I highly recommend you give weightless stick bait fishing a try. It's a very versatile technique that can be used in all types of situations, all bodies of water, and it can really yield some impressive results. So grab your gear and head out to your favorite fishing spot. And that's weightless stick bait fishing. Hope you found this video informative and helpful. And remember, fishing is all about experimenting with new baits, new techniques, on new bodies of water and finding out what works best for you. So don't be afraid to try different techniques and baits. And speaking of new techniques, why not check out the next video? Because that's the one YouTube thinks you should watch next. Stay safe out on the water, tight lines, and hook 'em up.